Welcome to Defense Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: as a fifth term for Vladimir Putin looms, Russia is stepping up its war on its own people. Beijing's military budget isn't a surprise, but Taiwan is taking no chances. How the U.S. military will use a floating pier to deliver Gaza aid. Heading platoons, repairing machines and doing twice as much. How the war has changed the lives of Ukrainian women. Biden plan to build Gaza aid port could deliver 2 million meals a day. As a fifth term for Vladimir Putin looms, Russia is stepping up its war on its own people. CNN. Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022 has led to the erosion of democratic freedoms, media independence, and civil society within Russia. High-profile opponents to President Vladimir Putin and his ruling elite are now largely in exile, in prison, or dead. A total of 260 people are serving jail terms in Russia for crimes related to taking an anti-war stance, according to Russian human rights group OVD-Info. The group has recorded almost 20,000 detentions, and while most of those were at the beginning of the war, there is still a steady stream. They're not large numbers in a country of 140 million people, but just enough to make for an effective deterrent. Russia's powerful investigative committee ordered a criminal case to be opened on charges of spreading false information about the army. In early February, 67-year-old Moscow pediatrician Nadezhda Bayanova was accused by a young patient's mother of calling her husband, who had recently been killed in the war, a legitimate target for Ukraine. The woman filed an official report and Bayanova was arrested, her modest Moscow apartment ransacked by police. With mainstream Russian media now entirely state-controlled, the authorities are targeting other forms of expression, the arts, literature and culture. One of Russia's most popular modern literary figures, Boris Akunin, was labeled a foreign agent in January, and in early February a Moscow court issued an arrest warrant for him for allegedly justifying terrorism and spreading false information about the Russian army. The Kremlin has called accusations Russian authorities were behind Navalny's death unfounded. Russia did not make the mass arrests or carry out a violent crackdown at Navalny's funeral last week, as many of the activist's supporters had feared, but no one should be fooled by that, said Andrei Soldatov, a Russian investigative journalist and expert on the Russian intelligence services. Borrowing an effective tool from the days of COVID-19 regulations, he said, Russian authorities simply relied on surveillance from Moscow's many facial recognition cameras, as well as plainclothes officers from the Center for Combating Extremism, a unit of Russia's Interior Ministry. Beijing's military budget isn't a surprise, but Taiwan is taking no chances. South China Morning Post. Taiwan is preparing its troops for a potential conflict with China by pledging more live-fire drills and training. This comes after Beijing announced an increase in its annual military budget of 7.2%, bringing it up to $232 billion. Taiwan's defense minister, Chiu Kuo-cheng, said that the island had no plans to begin an arms race with China but that it would strengthen its training and drills to be able to deal with different scenarios. Chiu also confirmed that Taiwan's Air Force would resume midnight training for pilots as China was reportedly increasing its nighttime missions around the island. Observers have said that the increase in China's defense budget could help maintain President Xi Jinping's control of military power domestically while expanding Beijing's maritime power in the region. China views Taiwan as part of its territory and has increased military threats and diplomatic pressure since Tsai Ing-wen of Taiwan's independence-leaning Democratic Progressive Party was elected president in 2016. How the U.S. military will use a floating pier to deliver Gaza aid. Washington Post. A floating pier will be built off Gaza's coastline in the coming weeks to enable the delivery of 2 million meals per day to Palestinians facing starvation, the Pentagon has said. Construction of the offshore pier and causeway will take up to 60 days and require around 1,000 U.S. troops. A quarter of the enclave's population is on the brink of famine, according to UN officials, with 20 people having died from malnutrition and dehydration. The aid will be routed through Cyprus, where the goods will undergo inspection by Israel. Heading platoons, repairing machines and doing twice as much. How the war has changed the lives of Ukrainian women. CNN. The number of women in the Ukrainian military has increased significantly since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, with over 62,000 women currently serving in the armed forces of Ukraine, according to official statistics. Women are now participating in combat roles, including assaults. As more Ukrainians join the war effort, the country's women are increasingly stepping in to fill the vacancies left by men drafted into the military. Employers are facing a shortage of skilled workers and are offering training courses for women in roles traditionally seen as male. Biden plan to build Gaza aid port could deliver 2 million meals a day. New York Times. The Biden administration plans to build a floating pier and causeway to deliver humanitarian aid to Gaza, but the project is expected to take at least a month and possibly 2 to complete, according to the Pentagon. The pier and causeway will help deliver up to 2 million meals a day to residents of Gaza and will be constructed by the Army's 7th Transportation Brigade, Expeditionary. The floating pier will be built and assembled alongside an Army ship off the Gaza coast, and cargo and equipment will be loaded onto smaller Navy boats and moved toward a temporary causeway anchored onshore. Most vexing test: can Pakistan's Sharifs revive talks with India's Modi? Al-Khathaira. The direction of Indian-Pakistani ties can only be determined after India's upcoming national elections, say analysts. Shehbaz Sharif, Pakistan's 24th Prime Minister, responded to his Indian counterpart's congratulations in March, prompting speculation about improved relations between the two nuclear-armed neighbors. However, the Kashmir question remains a significant obstacle, as India insists the region is an internal matter, while Pakistan wants a reversal of India's 2019 decision to end Jammu and Kashmir's partial autonomy. Some analysts believe that a renewed attempt to improve ties is possible, given the historical ties between the Sharif brothers and India's Prime Minister Modi. However, others point to the influence of the Pakistani military and the political instability in Pakistan as obstacles to any potential détente between the two nations. Pentagon says most UFOs are misidentified ordinary objects. ABC. A Pentagon report has stated that U.S. government investigations have found no evidence of extraterrestrial technology in relation to unidentified flying objects, UFOs. The report suggests that most sightings of UFOs can be attributed to secret spy plane testing in the 1950s and 60s, and that many reports were simply misidentifications of ordinary objects. The report follows a previous announcement in 2022 that the Pentagon had found no evidence of aliens visiting or crash landing on Earth. The report also addresses popular beliefs in the recovery of off-world spacecraft and extraterrestrial technology, stating that such claims are inaccurate. The report is the first of 2 volumes scheduled to be released. 3 dead in Texas crash of U.S. military helicopter on Border Patrol. Yahoo! A National Guard helicopter crashed in Texas, killing 2 soldiers and a U.S. Border Patrol agent. The UH-72 Lakota helicopter was conducting aerial monitoring and detection operations at the U.S.-Mexico border when it went down near Rio Grande City. The cause of the crash is under investigation, and the names of the deceased and injured are being withheld until their next of kin can be notified. The helicopter was not part of Operation Lone Star, a state-directed border enforcement program launched in Texas in 2021. Art of Zen goes to New York. Nikkei Asia. The Japan Society Gallery in New York is showcasing an exhibition of Japanese art titled, None Whatsoever, Zen Paintings from the Gitter-Yilan Collection, from March 8 to June 16. The exhibition will feature works by Zen monk Hakuin Ekaku, as well as other artists who continued his legacy. The paintings and calligraphy, known collectively as Zenga, were created by monk artists during the Edo period in Japan, 1615 to 1868. The artists used simple yet striking visuals to teach profound lessons, in contrast to the more traditional Buddhist art of the time, which often featured intricate designs and bright colors. Zenga was intended to appeal to a wider audience and spread the teachings of Zen Buddhism. The Gitter-Yilan collection is one of the most important collections of Zen Buddhist art in the world. U.S. mulls blacklisting CXMT to further curb China's chip advance. Bloomberg. The Biden administration is considering imposing sanctions on several Chinese tech companies, including memory chipmaker Changxian Memory Technologies, CXMT, in an effort to limit China's advancement in advanced semiconductors. The U.S. Commerce Department's Bureau of Industry and Security, BIS, is reportedly contemplating adding CXMT to its entity list, which restricts companies' access to U.S. technology. Other Chinese firms are also under consideration for restrictions. The potential sanctions are a response to a chip breakthrough made by Huawei last year, with the Biden administration seeking to curb China's access to advanced American technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six, your trusty observer from the sixth dimension. Today, we have quite a mix of news stories from around the globe. Let's dive in, shall we? In Russia, as a potential fifth term for Vladimir Putin looms, the country is intensifying its crackdown on dissent. With opponents either exiled, imprisoned, or worse, the Russian authorities are using various tactics to silence any form of opposition. From targeting individuals for spreading false information to labeling popular literary figures as foreign agents, it seems no avenue of expression is safe. It's a troubling trend that further erodes democratic freedoms within the country. Over in Taiwan, tensions are rising as China increases its military budget and intensifies its pressure on the island. Taiwan is not taking any chances and is bolstering its troops and training to be prepared for potential conflict. While the island nation has no intention of starting an arms race, it recognizes the need to be ready for different scenarios. It's a delicate balance of maintaining defense capabilities while avoiding escalating tensions in the region. Meanwhile, the U.S. military plans to build a floating pier off the coast of Gaza to deliver much-needed aid to the region. With a quarter of the population on the brink of famine, the situation is dire. The construction of the pier will involve the deployment of U.S. troops and is expected to take up to 2 months. It's a humanitarian effort to alleviate suffering and provide essential support to the people of Gaza. In Ukraine, the lives of women have been significantly impacted by the ongoing conflict with Russia. With men being drafted into the military, women are stepping up to fill the vacancies in various roles, including combat. It's a testament to the resilience and strength of Ukrainian women, who are taking on new responsibilities to support the war effort. It's a reminder that women are an integral part of any society, capable of adapting and excelling in challenging circumstances. Moving to the realm of diplomacy, the question of Indian-Pakistani ties remains uncertain. The upcoming national elections in India will play a crucial role in determining the direction of relations between the two countries. While there have been signs of potential improvement, the Kashmir question remains a significant obstacle. Political instability in Pakistan and the influence of the military also complicate the path to any détente between the two nations. It's a complex situation that requires careful navigation. And finally, in a report that might disappoint some UFO enthusiasts, the Pentagon has stated that most sightings of unidentified flying objects, UFOs, can be attributed to misidentifications of ordinary objects or secret spy plane testing. The report emphasizes that there is no evidence of extraterrestrial technology. So, it seems we'll have to keep searching for evidence of alien visitors elsewhere. That wraps up our news roundup for today. Remember, these stories are just a glimpse into the complex and ever-changing world we live in. As always, I invite you to share your thoughts and join in the discussion. What are your thoughts on these news stories? I'm all ears. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.